Welcome everybody here to the Lakers Lounge, this live edition of the Lakers Lounge. I'm Anthony Irwin, joined today by I'm Anthony Harrison, joined by Irwin Fagan. How you doing, Irwin?
That's about as accurate as the usual intros you give me, so I'll take it. I'm doing great. Things at SB Nation and Silver Screen and Roll, where I work, are wonderful, and the off season's chugging along, so it's been a little slower, but excited to talk some Lakers.
We are thoroughly in off-season mode, right? Like
well, I was sort of. I mean, there was the AD extension, so that's more than a normal off-season, day, But yeah, this week we are now firmly once again in the off-season. But that was a day of something meaningful happening.
Like I talked to Sopan Deb on the
that was a good podcast.
Last lounge or whatever it was that we did last week.
Although you called him the most creative person in basketball media, which really hurt my feelings, but that's okay.
Look, man, as soon as you write a memoir, a novel,
I have no one
or
no
a
one
play.
Them. It's BS.
He's written all three. Like, I'm sorry, dude.
He's gotten them all published. That's the only difference. I have them. They're just
you're a distant 25th place.
I'll take it. Top 25. Okay, I'm back in. This is.
But yeah, no, I was talking
25 over 25, an Anthony Irwin list.
we were joking about the fact that this is a longer off season, and we usually do these misfortunes of the week, and the last 2 days that I have spent alone with the kids have been their own adventures onto themselves. One day I woke up with the dog vomiting and both kids having fecal accidents. This morning, woke up to Avery vomiting and Miles having a fecal accident, and Callie getting into the trash outside. So, we are so far into the off season that I'm a worse parent. Somehow I'm less focused in the middle of the off season.
Yeah, you have more opportunity to pay attention to them.
No, I think it's that my brain is so shut off with having so much less to pay attention to that I am just going insane and not paying any attention to anything. Except for
I guess that's true because you have to think harder for things to get mad about when there's not actively things going on. And so, you're actually working more to summon this much outrage in August, That's what makes you special.
I have outrage? What do I have outrage
I don't know. You're always mad about something. I assume whatever it is.
Well, lately I've been angry at my family for shitting and vomiting all over the place. Yeah, I would say that I'm a little upset with my family. But yeah, so today's show, we are going to be talking about Team USA, which tips off their exhibition season before the tournament. They play Puerto Rico tonight in Vegas, and Harrison and I are going to be talking about that.
Yeah,
and
I think less than an hour from now they tip off?
Yeah, well, I think it's probably in exactly an hour, right?
Yeah, that's
or maybe
true.
we're at 8:07.
I don't know if the NBA not being involved will make whoever's broadcasting this game. I actually don't know offhand. I was going to look that up after the show, but
FS1.
FS1?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well maybe they don't lie about start times. Well, if we find that out, then maybe we make maybe we start arguing that they should get some NBA rights.
I really think it's only the end. This is one of the dumber things that happens, NBA specifically, right? Where they'll say that a game is supposed to start, airing at 8:00 Eastern, right? And then you'll be at 8:12, and Stu Lance and Billy Mack are sitting there still doing their specific preview for the game. And I'll say it would it kill anybody to get these games started on time? Would it be, and I'll have all these Galaxy Brain people on Twitter tell me, no, actually, it makes them money at the top of the broadcast because people tune in at exactly 8:00, and therefore you get those commercials at 8:00 that, are more valuable than other commercials elsewhere in the game. And I'll be like, yeah, except no other sport does that. No, soccer, you tune in and it is immediate. Football, it is I guess out here it's what time did games start? 12? Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah, so 10 your time,
it's
12.
10 and 1:30 in California, so yeah.
It's like 12 o'clock sharp, and these games are on out here. 10 o'clock sharp, your time.
Well,
and by the
NFL's
way,
a branch of the military, so they run very prompt. And,
that is true. Yeah.
You know.
Baseball, also right on the dot. It is game time, it is go time. Basketball is the only one. The NBA is the only league that I can think of where they're like, ish. we have like an 8-ish time.
Well,
8 o'clock or so.
The RSNs aren't even as bad as the national TV. Where
oh my god. Yeah.
The RSNs, like, that's always been a thing where, like, it's like, yeah, the game broadcast starts at that time, but you know that tip is going to be, about
7 minutes later.
That. Yeah. But where, when it's the national televised games, it could be anywhere from 10 minutes to, like, 30 minutes. Depending on what mood they were in when they submitted the schedule to the TV guide,
A game will end in, like, the first game on the TNT docket will end at, it will go into overtime, and you're like, all right, hell yeah, this means we're going right into the next game. Nope.
They're like, no,
another 10
LeBron
minutes.
was watching that game, and we got to give them 10 minutes to warm up. It's
like people are, like, explaining to me how ad sales work, and I'm like, I understand, like, why, but this is the only league that does it, guys.
Yeah, it's
like,
actively anti-consumer.
Yeah, and the consumer is like, we're good. Like, the consumer is explaining to me on Twitter that actually they're doing the right thing. I'm like,
but
no,
I mean, the
you're
NBA
not.
has always shown that it has no problem being anti-consumer in many things that it does.
That's true. I guess the only thing that we're waiting for is the NBA leaking that they're seeking a trade from Turner to, like, NBC. Like, that's
how
all
we're going to find
missing.
out about the media rights deal. Is Adam Silver is demanding a trade. It's like, this is how we do it now, right, guys? He's ingratiate himself to the players further.
Adam Silver is going to be like Dame, where, like, remember like earlier in the offseason, Dame was listening.
Adam Silver is going to post an Instagram story where he's listening to the NBA on NBC theme song and then claim it was an accident.
Listening to Round Ball Rock.
He's like, da 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 da, and then I think that's all I can do without us getting sued.
It was like, I remember that. Like, that was when I knew that this was going to be the dumbest trade demand of all time. It was because, like, Dame's people, that Nate Jones guy, who's, like, part of his representation, was like, oh, you guys will link anything, and I'm like, that's not, like, really a leap,
Well, also, how often does that
welcome
song
to
come
my
on?
Yeah, right. Welcome to Miami.
How regular
came out when I was in
radio play is that
elementary
getting?
school.
Yeah.
At Welcome to Miami, I'm going to Google this, when Welcome to Miami actually came out. Because there was when I was in elementary school. I remember the Big Willie style CD that Will Smith put out there. Welcome to Miami, Will Smith release. 1997.
Yeah. I was going to say, it was definitely the 90s.
So they're expecting us to believe that Damian Lillard just happened to be out, and a song that aired 30 years ago just happened to be on.
Yeah.
But anyway, today's show, like I said, we're going to be talking about Austin Reaves playing on Team USA.
But I want to say, I knew you'd get mad about something. See, you found a way for us to rant about NBA start times in August for 6 minutes.
It's a gift.
Yeah.
It's a gift. So we are going to be talking a lot about a variety of things surrounding the men's national team. The social media coverage up to this point, expectations for Austin specifically, all of that good stuff. Expectations for the team is another, I guess, topic that we'll hit on as well. But you actually, it's really rare that you're like, hey, I have a take that I need to get this off. I have a take on something that I need to get off. And normally when that happens, it winds up being our clip for social media. So I'm just going to get out of your way. You have thoughts on the Anthony Davis extension?
Yes. I
think you told me you did.
Well, yeah, I do. I have some thoughts, and I know that I think you podcasted about it over the weekend, right?
A few times, yeah. A couple times, yeah.
Okay. So I don't want to kind of, go over too much, rehash our conversation on whether or not they should give him an extension from last week or whatever. But I was thinking more about analogies for this, because I know that there are some people that, I saw immediately the reaction on NBA Twitter is like, the end of this extension is going to be the worst contract in the league. This wasn't a lot of people. I think most people understood this was sort of something the Lakers had to do. It's not that unreasonable. The cap's going to keep rising, all of this stuff. Every extension right now is going to be the richest extension in NBA history, or the first player to get X amount of money. It's like, you are the record holder until the next guy gets a contract.
Yeah,
and then
for
he is the
15
record
whole
holder.
minutes.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown was the richest extension in NBA history for like 2 days. It's however many, I don't know, a week.
Do you think the Celtics are like happy? They're like relieved that he no longer holds that title?
It's the biggest favor the Lakers have ever done the Celtics, is putting that news out there. They're like, Uncle, see? At least we didn't give it to that guy that gets injured sometimes, right? Right? Just ignore that Jaylen Brown only knows the word right and not left. It's just... Yeah, so I was thinking about this, and, the conclusion that I've come to on it is not only all the stuff that I just mentioned about, its rising value and all of that stuff, but you have to give Anthony Davis this extension. And it's sort of like, the situation that I'd compare it to is if you have a car, and you like your car, and, it's sort of like, I made an analogy a couple weeks ago. I would let Max Christie drive my car. It just seems reliable. AD... less trustworthy in the car. I'm not going to...
Do you want to rehash who you would rather have drive your car again? Like,
I'm going to get to that. But yeah, easily Max Christie over my wife. But, if I'm picking people to drive my car and it's like Max Christie or AD, I don't know what AD is going to do with that car. He may decide that he's better off driving from the passenger seat. Like, and he prefers that more. And you just sort of have to, but because
from the second row, he's so tall that he actually like rips out
the. He could do it if he just like.
Not probably.
Yeah,
not probably.
There was that Phil Jackson story. If he could sit in the back seat of a car and like open the front doors from the back seat with his arms.
No, Kevin Durant can sit in the third row of a minivan and open the front. I'm not even kidding. He can open the front doors of a minivan sitting from the third row.
And Giannis can sit in the back seat of the back of a limousine and actually drive it. It's crazy.
And Wembanyama can actually be 2 cars back.
Yeah. Wembanyama actually, he sits in the back of the team bus and drives it from the very back seat.
He does everything for the Spurs. He really does.
Just promising prospect. But anyway, the analogy that I'd make with the AD extension is it's sort of like, when you have someone in your life and you don't totally trust their abilities in every single way, but you want to keep them happy, they're important to you, he's important to the Lakers franchise, his skill set, they cannot replace it, like in their organization, they have to keep him happy for their rep with other stars so they don't look bad, all that stuff. It's like, it would be sort of like, if it's like, take, for example, my wife, like terrible driver, but I'm still going to let her drive my car, because even though it's a risk, just like giving AD this extension is a risk, there's a chance, she hits a fire hydrant. There's a chance that she hits a column in our parking garage, when she's backing out and sort of scrapes the car. There's a chance that she, hits a curb as she's driving, there's a chance that
has she done all of these things?
I'm not going to confirm or deny any of that, but, it's like there's a chance of a lot of things going wrong. Just like there's a chance of AD getting hurt over the course of this contract. But more often than not, he's going to do the right things. He's important. And so you got to let him drive the car because, yes, there's a chance that, he is trying to pull into a parking space and there's workers there and they don't want to make too embarrassing of like a turn and have to do too many like K turns or something to get into the spot. So, you're just going to try and squeeze in, even if it costs you the entire back door or something like that. And, AD is going to make these risky plays. He's going to do this stuff, but the result of them is greatness when it's allowed to work out, and keeping him happy is important. And so, you got to give him the extension.
So the result of Mia, is it ever greatness driving? Like, is it ever...
Not driving, no, but she's important to the household. And so,
See, like, I was actually...
Our anniversary is tomorrow. And so...
okay. Happy anniversary.
Yeah, happy anniversary, Mia. With this
Mia,
analogy.
by the time you're listening to this, happy anniversary. No, because you were, as soon as you were heading down this path, I was thinking to myself, like, oh shit, this is exactly why Jen and I are still together. Like, at all. She's like looking at this, like every time she walks into the room,
like, yeah,
and I'm sitting there like,
children poop all over the house, but he's a good podcaster, and his
no, it's the opposite of that. It's she's like, God, he's still doing this podcasting thing, huh? We're still heading down this path, huh? Oh, there he is playing fucking video games, huh? And he's saying it's for research so that he could talk about it on the podcast. And then she thinks to herself, like, man, how much nicer would it be if I was with, a doctor or a lawyer or anybody else who isn't a podcaster? And she's like, yeah, but divorce is expensive and the kids like them. And then, so like you're talking about, like, not having me in the house is actually more difficult than having me in the house. So I keep getting extensions. That's how this works.
The pluses outweigh the minuses still with AD. And it's not worth potentially making him mad by not giving him the keys and having him go drive somebody else's car,
Yeah, right. I could
because
let somebody...
there's a bunch of other franchises that would be willing to offer him the keys, and if you're the Lakers, you're like, well, we were not doing so great before AD came along, and so you just give them the keys, and if they happen to back into a fire hydrant, it happens.
Yeah, I could let somebody else's kids shit and vomit all over the house. Like, that could be something that I could do anywhere else, right?
Exactly.
It's a good analogy here. It's going to be a good clip for tomorrow. Thanks
for making it, by the way, Mia.
That's right. So do you have like a nice couch? Like, do you have a nice, comfortable couch?
Well, like I told you, I bought an air mattress. So I think may get some usage after she edits this clip. We'll find out.
All right. So like we said at the top, the Team USA is going to be kicking off their exhibition season. They're going to play 5 exhibition games in preparation for the FIBA tournament. We are going to talk about the team macro and micro. I actually want to start micro in this case because this is a Lakers show and because obviously Austin Reaves is a Laker and will be for the for 4 more years. Do we
have to chant 4 more years every time you say that?
Yeah, it's in this case I'm
4 more years. 4 more years.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, or like more likely like 2 years, then possibly trade bait.
2 more years and then extension talk and maybe then you're expiring.
Austin's current trajectory, he'll be able to demand a trade in 2 years, like at the level
he might be able to demand one based off of the engagement that he's getting throughout like the preparation and the lead up to this tournament. He might be able to demand a trade now.
Yeah, I mean, the Lemon Daddy can do whatever he wants.
This is crazy. It's been funny to watch, accounts and fans of teams like all realize collectively that if you put the Laker and specifically the white Laker in your tweet or in your video in some way, shape, or form, you are going to get engagement on your tweet or your video or whatever it is that you are throwing out there. This has been wild. And, I kind of talked about it a little bit on the lowdown last night. Make sure you guys check out that. Also had a special guest in Mitch Kupchak come and recap the Winning Time episode from last night as well.
Has Mitch showed up on Winning Time yet? I haven't watched the first episode yet. Oh, he did?
He did, yeah.
Oh, man.
And for like a hot second, I also thought that Mitch's ass showed up in Winning Time, like in a locker room shot. But it was a different white guy that the Lakers employed like the year before that we're talking about this. But anyway, we I talked about it a little bit on the lowdown last night, and I was thinking about like the impact of all of this. I don't want to take it like too seriously or whatever, but like the response to this is you have so many tweets and videos and stuff going out on Austin Reaves doing anything, and they're all getting so much engagement that you have so many people like starting to hate Austin Reaves for merely being the subject of all of these tweets that are doing numbers. And I'm like, that doesn't seem fair.
Yeah. I mean, this is the Caruso arc, right? Where like eventually someone actually took the time together to put together a spreadsheet of how many times Bleacher Report tweeted about Alex Caruso versus other people.
Yeah. And like the thing is, and we're going to talk
Which
about
was a hilarious day online, I do have to say.
There was like somebody like legit tracked it. Like that's not something you could look up on Basketball Reference.
Nope.
That's not a quick Google.
I would subscribe to that analytics site. I'm just saying, like, how many times are various players mentioned on social media?
Who do you think would like surprise you at how many times they get tweeted about, other than like white guys?
It would probably be like Quentin Grimes or something. It's like, oh my God. Like it's got to be someone on a big market team that's like, it's like a younger guy that fans feel like they found and they're attached to, it would be one of those guys.
I was about to break my own rule because I was about to say Peyton Pritchard in Boston that like, for no reason whatsoever, he gets tweeted about by his fan base a lot. Like no, it's pure coincidence.
Not touching that one.
But we, so anyway, I don't know. Like I don't want to take it too seriously. I do want to talk like about the impact that this might have on his season. And that's like a fun thing to think about. But yeah, I feel like these accounts and these, platforms that have all collectively realized Austin Reaves does numbers, are doing him a bit of a disservice. Like, and like people are going to like line up to dunk on the fact that this guy who, by the way, only a couple of years ago was an undrafted free agent on draft night, and has ascended to this opportunity. He might not play very much. I hope he plays a little bit, but this team is like stacked at his position. It's a very talented team overall. There are guys with more cachet than he has on that team. He might not play that significant of a role, and you're going to have all kinds of people saying like, you guys, what's the term, rizzed him up, right? Like, you guys rizzed him up for all this.
Rizzed him up would imply that we like flirted with him. I guess like they'd be saying like, he rizzed us up, I guess. But like
whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like they're going to be so angry at all these accounts for tweeting about him as much as they did, or skeeting him about him as much as he did on Blue Sky.
Excellent.
All of that stuff. And I don't know, like there's a decent chance that he doesn't play very much. It just seems kind of unfair to him in this spot.
So I agree with you on one sense that like it's not fair to him that people are going to hate him because he has a giant fan base, and the like Pat Bev's podcast is like, oh man, I'm on the veterans minimum again. I gotta like have every single episode be about the Lakers, and every single clip that we send out is like tangentially related to the Lakers, or like it's a Laker guest that I'm saying didn't get paid enough, or
it's been funny to see like everybody learn about SEO in the same offseason.
Well, I guess not SEO, like social media engagement best practices. Like that's a little different, but
I don't know. It's same same
concept.
concept.
Funny to see like every single slideshow from the USA basketball account is like Austin Reaves prominently featured in one photo or the other. They're like, all right, let's go. Lakers fans are gonna quote tweet this one for the 20th time with like, oh, look at our boy. And I do it every single time. So
now he doesn't have a beard. Look at that.
Man, changed it up.
I got nervous about the beard. I'm not going to lie. I got a little nervous about the beard because we both know that Austin likes to get to the free throw line. And if he grew out a Harden-esque beard, I don't know if I can handle that, man.
No, that's what that's what the hair is for. The hair that's the function of the hair. Is like it flops wildly at any contact, and so it accentuates. He doesn't need the beard, He already has his own version. It's sort of like, Harden sort of adapted his own version of Ginobili's kind of Euro step ways. He made it his own, though. He does it a little differently. Like, I think that's Austin's version of the Harden beard. He realized that actually, no, if you have hair that kind of flies wildly, that's more effective,
Yeah. Yeah, he did trim up the sides at one point in the season, and he had a bit of a glow up, and it was funny, like right after we talked to Mirren about the fact that he was going to get nothing but Fantastic Sam's haircuts, that's just who he is forever. The very next day, he shows up and he's like perfectly lined up.
Yeah.
but still, like, he got that haircut. But he did make sure to keep it a little longer up
Yeah,
top.
you got to keep it long on top so it still moves at the contact.
And B, like, he doesn't use pomade. He doesn't use anything that's gonna like keep his hair down. He's keeping that loose so that does
always
like
looks
flop
like he
around.
just took off a Spider-Man mask after like a marathon night of fighting crime. Like, it's just, the hair is just wet and all over the place. Like,
yeah, always.
Yeah.
No,
and just to answer your original question, like, on one hand, no, that's not fair to Austin. But, I mean, this is sort of the arc that a lot of Lakers go through. And I actually was going to say the opposite. I think that it is going to be hilarious to watch America fall in love with Austin Reaves while he's not playing for the Lakers, and be like, oh man, this Reaves guy, he's got to play. Like, they're trying to like hold themselves back, like, oh man, we can't argue that Reaves needs to play more and that he's good because we need to call him overrated this season, and talk about how he's getting too many tweets about him and whatever. Like, it's there's going to be some of these engagement accounts kind of trying to toe the line.
I'm already uneasy about the Captain America logo that they've given him. It's like, so we're saying that guy can only be a white guy, right? Like, that was the whole point of the Falcons like season that wasn't very good on Disney Plus. The whole point was that we will never have a black Captain America, and all of these accounts immediately are like, Captain America right there, the white guy has to be the Captain.
But like pre-Super Soldier Serum, he's still working on that part. Would you feel better if they just called him Steve Rogers? They were just
That's a little better. I wish like Alex Caruso would have been on this team too, just so that they would like, you would see these accounts like, wait, which one do we call Captain America? Like,
I'm sorry. Again, with all due, Austin is the better player at this point. He has won that argument, I will say. But Alex Caruso still has closer to the Captain America physique.
He does. Wait, you have Austin as a better player than Caruso?
I think Austin is better at this point.
Wow. I disagree.
There were people arguing that earnestly, like, way too early in his career because he was good at scoring and stuff like that. Like, and he was not there yet. Caruso was still better. I think Austin now, because of his on-ball ability, in addition to the other things that he can do, plus the defense, which again, not Caruso-esque, not saying that, but I think overall he is the more valuable player.
Should I do the hyper like sports radio thing and tweet the link to the show and ask who's better, Reaves or Caruso?
Yeah, use that white Laker engagement. Go ahead.
Caruso just got like first team All NBA defense.
Yeah, but that was only because he should have been first team All NBA defense the last like 3 years, and it's just,
that's only further to my point.
Yeah.
Like, we suck so bad at factoring defense into like how good we consider players.
Caruso, like, as much better as Caruso is at defense than Austin is, like, Austin's probably that much better offensively.
Okay, I am doing the thing, and I'm saying, who's better,
Ronnie Price or Jerry West? Come jump in and join us.
Super Sports Radio poll.
Yeah, no, so I'm excited to watch him with Team USA. I think he's going. I agree with you. There is a glut of guards, but we've already seen Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr, before he was coaching the national team, was talking about how amazing Austin Reaves is, and so he's a Kerr-esque player. He's a guy that he keeps the ball moving, like, buys into the offense, like, doesn't need the ball in his hands too much. He's not going to be demanding to run a bunch of pick and rolls a game or whatever it may be. He's going to play his ass off on defense, even if, again, he's not Caruso on that end. I will say that. I think he's going to get real minutes. I think there's a chance he starts.
Only because Steve Kerr does Steve Kerr stuff.
Yeah, but
like,
he's going to play. I don't
start.
think that he's going to end up out of the rotation.
No, to be absolutely clear, I'm not saying that I think he is not going to play. I'm saying there's like there's clearly, but I think there's a chance. Like, you look at his position, and this team is like stacked at that spot specifically, and like, you could argue the best player on the roster plays that position in Anthony Edwards. So he's going to be getting, I would hope, Now, like, the minutes in these things are always kind of skewed because no team wants to see their guy play such an insane number of minutes,
Yeah.
right? That, like, and like, this team is so well-rounded
That's
that...
why there's no Warriors on the team, because Steve Kerr's saving all his guys for the
Well,
regular
also
season.
because all
Actually,
the young
no, we
Warriors
just figured
suck.
it out. Steve is going to play Austin 40 minutes a game.
40 minutes a game. That was the joke that Pop made every single time that he was coaching All-Star games.
Yeah.
Kobe, you're playing 48. Shaq, you're playing 49.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just looking at kind of... I understand the argument. If we could... This is very Augusty or whatever, but like this is kind of fun, talking about Reeves and Caruso. I understand the argument for Reeves that, like, he is so far advanced offensively that, you know, compared to Caruso right now, and he's okay defensively, and therefore in the aggregate he is the better player. But I think that really undervalues how much better Caruso is defensively than Reeves, right? Like, I can make the argument he is like further better English major than Reeves defensively is than Reeves is than Caruso offensively, and like, in even though Caruso is probably worse on offense than Reeves is on defense, that, like, in aggregate, you can make the argument there for Reeves, but I still think that Caruso is just so effing good. Like, we saw what happened to Chicago, and like, it didn't help that Lonzo also went down at the same time.
Yeah,
but
they lost like their two defenders that are exactly like that, and yeah, shockingly, the whole defense fell apart. When
those guys went down, they fell off a cliff, you know. And at that time, I was still working there at SB Nation, and I was talking to Ricky about it, and it was just like such a bummer to talk to him about both of those guys. Because it's really cool to see Lakers go out and do like cool things away from, you know, just like I just always root for most of these guys. And then in this case, like, with both of those guys being players that I really, really like, and Lonzo specifically, Lonzo becoming as impactful as he was when, like, his reputation was kind of in the dirt by the time he was traded.
Yeah.
Him becoming like that kind of impact player was really cool to watch. And it sucked watching those guys go down. But like, when they went down, Chicago's defense fell off of a cliff. And then I get why Lakers fans would complain that he did a lot of the same stuff in Chicago that he was doing for the Lakers, and he would only win an award off of the Lakers. I get that. But he also did all those things at 30-plus minutes a night. And that was always the knock on Caruso. It was like, we didn't know how hard he could play for that many minutes. And so when he goes out and he plays that hard for all of those minutes, I'm like, that's a damn good player. And somebody, by the way...
got hurt. So maybe the Lakers were right.
Well, no, like, he got hurt because Grayson Allen, like...
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
You know, did Grayson Allen things.
But maybe he wouldn't have been in the game at that point for the Lakers, you know? Let's say, hey.
Yeah, that's it.
Also, I realize Reeves is definitely not going to start. I forgot Michael Bridges or Michael. I forget how you
Mikal Bridges, and then but also
I forgot
Anthony
he's
Edwards
on the team too. So I thought maybe Reeves or Ant would play the 3, but no, that's not going to happen. Never mind.
Yeah, it's a really good team at like that specific spot. So you know, they get a little thin with the bigs, but yeah, they are. This is a really good.
Hey,
team.
Austin has gotten minutes at center in the NBA. So on Christmas Day, never forget.
That's also true. Was it center? I thought it was just power forward. Did I lose my mind?
No,
He played
I think
center
he
too?
was center in that
God.
in the
I think
5-guard lineup Darvin played at one point. Yeah,
I must have blacked out.
I think Reeves was the center, if I remember correctly.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
No, I think you're right. Yeah. He played 4 guards in Austin, and it didn't go well. Because, like, even though they went that small, they still couldn't shoot. Austin was still the best shooter
would
on
have
the
protected
court.
the rim, though. It's
So, all right. So I'm looking at the roster right now. Josh Hart plays Austin's position. Obviously, you have Anthony Edwards as well.
Josh Hart and Austin Reaves, though, I gotta say, like, as role players who are going to be having like somewhat limited minutes, you know, the amount that they're going to get after it defensively, chasing guys around.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's actually something I really hope that like America at large buys into this roster, because it's a lot of guys that I don't think people know as much about, but it's a lot of guys whose games are really easy to love.
It's also
like
a really just likable team in terms of the characters on it.
Yeah, because Tyrese Halliburton is one of my favorite like young point guards in the league, right? Just was just an all-star after Wally Szczerbiak specifically said he would never be an all-star. You have Jalen Brunson, right, who turned the Knicks around almost single-handedly. Obviously, Anthony Edwards is
I think Jalen Brunson is the actual Captain America of this team. See, apparently no one even said anything, and he started leading the 1-2-3 USA chants at camp. So I think Jalen Brunson is the actual Captain America.
He actually came to practice with a shield and still didn't get labeled Captain America.
I thought it was weird that there was someone with a shield in the background of all the photos, but hey.
You know what's insane is like Austin is the only... No, I guess Halliburton too. Austin and Halliburton are the only guys who don't have the physique of Captain America, and yet Austin got labeled Captain America.
Yeah.
That's...
Yeah, Bobby Portis, convincing Captain America. That's a guy... Well, he just has the super strength. As Nicole Mirotic found out.
What are your expectations though for like do you watch like Team USA stuff? I know a lot of people who also cover the NBA just try to like turn their brains off unless they have a player that they cover in this tournament. They try to like enjoy their vacation time. But do you usually get into this like year in, year out? I love this stuff.
The Olympics,
as
long as there's not too much of a time difference, the Olympics usually I do. This is going to be quite the time difference once they're over in the Philippines. Or wait. Yeah, no, it will be. Unless the game... Yeah, because our nighttime is basically their morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
So... Yeah, I don't know how many of these games I'm going to catch live. I'm just going to be real honest with you. I'm also going to be on vacation for part of the tournament. So I don't know if I'm going to be up at like 2 a.m. or whatever it'll be. But yeah, like if it's on at a reasonable time, like I will generally try to watch it because I think usually it's fun.
Yeah, I just...
And it's fun to get to root for guys that are not kind of like on your team, and get to appreciate their games in that way where you get to get excited about rooting for them in the same way. It's different than having like a backup playoff team in a year when your team doesn't make the playoffs or whatever. Like you get to get attached to those specific guys and how they come together. Like the Redeem team, that was a giant time difference, but I also was an unemployed teenager at that time. And the Redeem team is like one of my favorite teams ever, just because it was fun to watch those guys be over there. And, it was literally like a, 2K all-star team that you would assemble, trade override of like all the best guys in the league.
And it was Kobe in his prime. And
exactly. And Kobe was the best of them. So you got to watch it, like all the guys defer to Kobe at the end of games. Yeah.
Yeah. That game against Spain to this day is my favorite basketball game of all time. But I enjoy wrapping myself in the flag. I was kind of facetious the last time around when Pop was the head coach, and just kind of like picking it at Pop not being as successful in that spot as maybe he could have been, and how like that might further cement that Phil is better than Pop.
No, but Pop won me over because he was basically like, he pretty much said like, if Kyle, that's a different tournament if Kyle Kuzma comes, after that first one. I'm like, okay, he got me. I'm back in.
Pop also understands how social media works.
Yeah. Actually, if there's someone I'm confident does not understand how social media works, it's Greg Popovich. Like I think he's ever logged into any of these platforms.
I had a dream a couple nights ago that I asked Greg. Like I sat down for a one-on-one with Greg Popovich, and he was delightful in my dream. That was
things that really mean to you in real life. I have no doubt.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh no, I like wine. I would just like talk to him about his wine. But
he'd tell you your taste is trash. He'd be like, just like your taste in teams.
You're telling me this Pinot has tannins?
He'd try to get you fired, like during the interview, just because he knows you root for the Lakers.
Yeah. But yeah, I enjoy wrapping myself in the in the flag for this stuff. Like I love the Olympics. I love getting up for that. Like all of the stuff during the Olympics. Like to this day, I think one of my favorite events of all time was that swim meet where our team, it was a relay, and our team made some like furious comeback, I think to beat like France, if I'm remembering correctly. This was, I think, no, it wasn't the same Olympics as the. I think it was the Olympics before the Redeem Team. It was in '04. And yeah, like that, watching that, like I just love all of that. I was bummed to, I didn't watch live because it was way too early/late here, but I do love watching the women's soccer team when they're in those tournaments as well. And yeah, like this is another opportunity to do so. And like the basketball also is phenomenal. The basketball is so effing fun. Because the world has gotten so much better in this sport because of the efforts that the NBA has taken. And you got. I was pretty disappointed to find out that Jokic isn't going to play for his native Serbia, and I guess Luka is playing. We're waiting to see if Jamal Murray is going to play for Canada, and I think he's going to try though. And, the Australian team is always kind of frisky, and France is always really good too. So I love this stuff. I love all of this. It's great basketball. And it's also like a basketball. It's a sport that I love in a month that we don't normally get the sport that we love. And it gives me an excuse to like turn my brain back on for like work for a couple nights a week that I wouldn't normally, and I guess by extension get better as a dad.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if that happens during the course of this tournament. Like, does Austin Reaves playing basketball make you a better father by extension?
It's gonna be the title of this pod. Macro, or I do want to like put a bow on the Austin aspect of this. If like, is there anything that like he could do that changes expectations for him this season?
I mean, if Austin is closing games, I don't know.
Yeah. Nothing. I think nothing negatively.
Yeah, no, yeah.
A lot positively.
If Austin closes a couple of these games, I may send some dangerous tweets about what the Lakers' record is going to be.
He would have to like. All right, so that would mean he's taking minutes.
It would be either Bridges, Ant, or Brunson, or Halliburton. Obviously, will like be in conversations to potentially close some games and.
But still, yeah, to your point, though.
Small guards, they actually talked about this on the Hoop Collective today, and small guards typically don't do that well in international play because
there's more hand checking.
Rules are different. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, Brunson, they may need Team USA may find themselves in need of a tall point guard.
Maybe, although like the things that Brunson would struggle with, I think Austin would also struggle with because he's not strong enough to like deal with hand checking.
He's not going to get the whistle he does in the NBA either.
But still, though, like to your point,
he's going to put on a wig by the end of the tournament, like hair all the way down to his shoulders, just to try like.
If he does,
because those FIBA refs, like they will, the FIBA refs will allow murder.
Especially on American players.
I prefer when the refs let teams play and there's less free throws. But Austin's not going to be drawing a whole lot of freebies in this tournament.
Yeah, and Americans specifically get a tough whistle in this tournament. Like that's
to be honest, it's sort of like the Shaq whistle. I mean, it's like that seems fair.
Not anymore, man.
It's not great for my rooting interests, really but fair enough. I get it.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap up on Misfortune of the Week. Do you have one?
Well, it's going to depend on the reaction of this podcast and the analogy I made at the beginning.
I already talked about my kids and what they've done to me the last couple of days that I've been fully in charge of them. But as I was sitting down, I got bit by a spider. Like for this show, and
I thought you were going to say one of your children. I was like, oh wow, they
really rebelled. No, Miles has 4 teeth now. For a while there, like Miles would just kind of like chew on your hand, and it would just feel kind of funny or whatever. But now, if he like gets a hold of your finger, it really hurts. He has teeth now, and but yeah,
I thought you were going to say your misfortune was when I called Child Protective Services for letting, that ball hit Miles at the end of that clip you posted the other day. I don't know.
Ball
That
hit
seemed
Miles?
dangerous to me. When you
What
were
ball
throwing
hit
it up in the
Miles?
air and he thought it was hilarious that you kept catching it before it hit him, but then you let it
Yeah.
go on the
I
final
should
one.
get that. I should get that clip and play it on here
Yeah.
for the audience. But no, that was like that ball is a rubber soccer ball that weighs all of like slightly more
That's
than a
what I
balloon.
tell the investigators too, but I don't know.
Show him the ball. But yeah,
I
I
did.
was literally.
I was laughing also that during that clip, Avery, the very older child that just had a new, baby sibling energy, is like,
Yeah.
look at me. Okay, I'm gonna go get something from the other room to get your attention. And you didn't. The clip doesn't continue with what she came back with. I'm assuming it was like scissors or something, and Jen immediately had to shut the phone down and go deal with whatever she had grabbed.
Oh no, it was a bigger ball.
Oh.
It was a bigger ball, and the reason that she got it was, if that ball made contact with Miles, it would make more of a reaction. So
Yeah.
but no, she today let's see, what did she? So she threw up this morning and then immediately rallied. It's the craziest thing that like kids do all the time is that they
I
they
assume
throw
she
up.
has like your like, I mean, she should have gotten some of your ability to overcome, hangover like symptoms genetics, like.
She can't like have a mimosa. It's not genetics. It's just that
Yeah.
I have like I have a mimosa and I feel better, or I used to. But like, no, so this morning she's sitting there and she throws up and then she like feels kind of crappy for a little bit. I gave her a Zofran, gave her some Tylenol, and like was immediately just zoomies around the house, just like nothing had ever happened. And then her thing right now is she laughs through getting hurt. So like, she also loves The Floor is Lava, the show on Netflix, and will like throw stuff all over the floor and then like jump from thing to thing because the floor is lava, and will tell me that I have to get off of the floor because the floor is lava. I have special lava sandals though, so I'm actually safe. But
I was gonna say, how are you old manning your way around this? You're
lava sandals.
Yeah.
But so she will
because there's no way you're jumping from pillow to pillow,
no. Well, so she today it wasn't doing floor is lava. She just like she can't help herself. If she sees something that is not the floor, she is going to step on that thing that is not the floor. And all of these things are slick. So today she stepped on a coloring book and did like the full on splits and like started laughing, like hard laughing, trying to laugh her way through the pain. And then like it gave way to like, no, this really effing hurts. And like earlier today, she did the same kind of thing and she like banged her elbow on something. And she's like laughing, running all through the house, like holding her elbow. And when they hold something, that means it really hurts. So I was like, no, kid, like come here. Like, let me just make sure you didn't break your elbow. She didn't. And
bone sticking out. She's just trying to cover it so she can keep playing.
Yeah, put some duct tape on it. I'm good. And it's just wild how much tougher she is than Miles, who is just a complete nincompoop. A complete and utter nincompoop. Every like loud noise makes him cry. They are such polar opposite people, and it's
well, he has your ability to generate outrage or upsetness at anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It's like an overwhelming sense, right? It's like when Superman first arrived on Earth and he could like hear everything,
Yeah. Yeah.
That's Miles like, right now. He's overwhelmed by things to get outraged by, and eventually he's going to learn to control and focus it on just sports.
Do you think me telling him that the Lakers didn't bring back Malik Beasley or Lonnie Walker just to have some extra salary on the books was a good thing or bad?
No, I think honestly you probably set him back weeks. I don't. That's going to overwhelm the senses.
All right. Well, that is going to do it here for this episode of the Lakers Lounge. We are about 5 minutes from tip-off on FS1, where Team USA is going to be taking on Puerto Rico from Vegas. I'm going to be tuning into that. Not going to be doing a playback quite yet for this because I want to get a feel for how many people are actually going to be watching those games. But if we do find out based off of response online that a lot of people are indeed watching, I will probably turn on playback every so often to watch those games with you, or at least for like the occasional pressure cooker or something like that. That'd be fun.
I just realized
to get
that,
going as well.
they're again, they're playing right after this. So this podcast, for people listening to it as a podcast tomorrow, is either going to be hilarious to listen to our optimism about Austin Reaves, or we're going to sound like geniuses.
Yeah. Find out in 5 minutes. We'll talk to you guys later.
Depending on when they start.